When you feel everything so deeply and you empathize with everyone around you and you seek to understand people and you listen to them and you hold their perspective and you try to see what they can see and you try to sense what they can sense and you try to feel what they can feel in order to expand your knowing of the world, just because you are a curious person, a generous person, a kind person, an empathetic and compassionate person. The problem comes in where many people will not be able to reciprocate that same understanding and perspective to you. But you can see their potential to do so. You can see the potential within them to give you the same understanding, to give you the same listening space and lending ear and shoulder to celebrate on, cry on, whatever your case might be. You can see the potential in them to offer you the same thing that you offer to them, which is multitudes of understanding, layers of truth, layers of it can be this way and that way. And yet, very often, those same people will try to put you in a box or put you in a container or make you be one way or another, or even make you be the way they want to see you and not any other way. And very often, too, those people, they get a lot of benefit from you offering your endless, limitless, unlimited understanding, non-judgment, and they know that they can't, at least on some deep level, they know that they can't reciprocate it back. So whenever they feel you start to pull away, they will give you just enough to keep you around, and we call that breadcrumbing, because they can't lose you, because they can't have you walk away, but they also cannot reciprocate because they do see the world as this or that, black or white. They see you in a box, they see themselves in a box. It's how they operate. And it is important to note how people operate, because this situation where they're not giving back what you are giving, they're not reciprocating what you are giving in terms of understanding and in terms of care and in terms of treatment and in terms of unconditional love, where they're not giving that back and you're always the one accommodating. And so maybe you accommodate something very small or just once and then again and again and again. And it builds over time into outrageous behavior that you're ultimately now somehow accommodating. And it is how you can also stay around for way too long in a situation that you should have left a long time ago because of its misfit, because of its unalignment, even its toxicity, its mistreatment of you. So the way they operate is really the standard. We can see all the ways that they could be. We can see their potential. We can see when they might meet it every once in a while. But their standard operating procedure is what you have to go off of, because their standard operating procedure is not your standard operating procedure. Your standard operating procedure comes from love and light and expansiveness and knowing that there are so many things that can be true at once and so many opportunities and so much abundant information, and that you contain multitudes and that you can hold all of these things within you very easily. Their standard operating procedure is that you are one thing, they are one thing, and it is too scary for it to be any other way. It makes them uncomfortable. And if you try to be your multitudinous self with them, they aren't going to like it. It's going to upset them. When you try to take up that space, when you try to show all that you can hold and contain, when you try to share that with them. So their standard operating procedure, not what they might be thinking or feeling or what everything else that you know is going on around them and their energy, because I know you can sense all of those things that are going on around them, but the way they act, their behavior, and it's their standard way of doing it day after day after day. Their standard operating procedure is not yours. And so if your standard operating procedure and theirs are essentially incompatible, then one, we have to know what our standard operating procedure is versus what their standard operating procedure is, not what it could be, what it is today. And if those are ultimately incompatible, then it is time to release them. It is time to let them go. Or if you see their standard operating procedure, which is not your own, we're all individuals and unique, but it is one that you can work with, then you can continue on. But this requires checking in with yourself so frequently, so often. It is not necessarily the easiest thing for people who feel very deeply, are very sensitive, are empaths, are deep feelers, but it is how we keep ourselves as ourselves, how we know where we end and where they begin, is that standard of operation day after day after day. I see you and I appreciate you.